I'm fourth generation here on our family dairy, Breda Family Farms.
You got to wake up early in the morning, you got to come to work every day.
Kids think that they really think they want to be a vet until it comes down to it, and then they don't actually really want to do it. And I think that it's okay.
Well, there's not an egg shop, there's not a farm that doesn't have a welder.
The best part about my job is really helping people.
My educational background is on-the-job training.
California agriculture drives the state's economy, grossing over $500 billion a year. From logging and fishing on the North Coast to the lush landscapes and nursery crops of Southern California, agriculture encompasses more than just the farmer. Through this series, you will be introduced to the unsung heroes of the agriculture industry. Agriculture education is cultivating careers. This episode, dairy.
My name is Jennifer Breda. I'm fourth generation here on our family dairy, Breda Family Farms. I work with my dad who owns the business, and my brother does the mechanic work. I have worked here for over 10 years. My job position is the assistant herdsman. So I graduated from Annalee High School and then transferred to Santa Rosa Junior College, where I got my associate's degree, and then transferred to Chico State, where I graduated with a degree in animal science. I worked at the Chico State Dairy, and the reason that I chose Chico State was at the time our dairy finished its organic transition, Chico State had just finished their organic transition. So not only did I get an animal science degree, but I worked on the dairy and I brought all those things I learned back here to the farm. So I was born and raised here on the dairy. Dairy has been part of my life for 32 years. I started helping my dad when I was about 6 and could push in the tractor pedals, and I knew from then that I was going to come back and work here. The reason I went to college was because there's no guarantee that our dairy will be here, so I wanted to make sure that I had a degree and got some outside exposure, and then I knew that if the farm was never here that I would also have a job. So I've been working here full-time since high school, and I've been here out of college for 12 years now. So my main tasks are the paperwork, so all of our organic paperwork. I breed the cows, make sure that all that paperwork is taken care of. We have a computer program where all the breedings, calvings, and milk records are held, so I manage that, as well as I feed calves and do the day-to-day type of activities, sorting cows, vaccinating heifers, whatever kind of comes up, but the normal things are breed, feed calves, and just overall management of the herd. Okay, so my favorite part of my job is breeding the cows and then watching the cows calve, and then I get to raise them up to be milk cows and watching what I've picked as a herd bull and watching them mature is kind of my favorite part about it. Skills that I use each day are being able to work with others. We have 3 main milkers here on the dairy and 2 outside employees, as well as my dad and my brother. So being able to give tasks as well as take tasks, as well as making sure that you know animal husbandry, how to move them quietly, move them through certain alleyways. And then the third task would be just overall computer skills when you're working with the computer program, and those programs have evolved over time. So a typical day is I start about 5:30. When I get here to the milk barn, make sure that the milk barn is running at the right time, meaning the cows are going through the milk barn. The second string will finish and I bring in our hospital string, check all of our fresh cows that have just calved, and then I breed the cows. Some mornings I don't have any cows to breed, and then I go on with the day where I check calves if I'm not the one feeding that day. I check all the heifers, all the groups, and then I do tasks like sort, vaccinate. Maybe we have the vet here that morning where we will preg check, dry check, and then in the afternoon we scrape the barn twice, or both strings, and then we feed calves again about 3 o'clock, and I make sure that the barn finishes correctly at about 6 p.m. We're done milking. So my job changes throughout the year depending on weather. We'll start in January, which it's winter time here. Our cows are locked in the barn. Due to water quality reasons, we have to lock them in so there's no manure runoff. So we're scraping the barn, we're feeding twice a day. I'm making sure all the calves have been fed, all the pens are dry. And then we move into spring. where we're gonna start to turn cows out. Being organic, we have to meet 120 day out on pasture. 30% of what they're eating from their dry matter has to come from the pasture. So we're starting to rotate pastures, potentially turn irrigation on if it's been a dry winter. We get our water from the city of Santa Rosa, so we're able to use the tertiary treated water back on our fields. And then as we move into summer, we're full irrigation mode. We're changing 2 sets a day, running 8-hour shifts on our irrigation. We use K-lines, so my dad and I are able to move them with quads, as well as then come and make sure all the paperwork's taken care of, and that's a yearly thing. And then as we move into the fall, we're gonna start to lock cows back up. And by I mean lock up, they're just getting fed twice a day, because until it rains, they're still able to have access to the outdoors. We're feeding twice a day. We will probably stop doing irrigation in around September. And then we're gonna start turning over our fields for growing our silage. We have about 100 acres of ground that we grow our own silage here. So we'll disc and seed, and then we'll run into winter, depending on rain, is when the cows will get locked back up, and we'll start the year back over. Yeah, so the life cycle of a dairy cow is a dairy cow carries a calf for 9 months, just like a human. So the cow will calve, and that calf will, at least here at our dairy, stays on the mom for 3 days. It gets colostrum out of the mom, and then we will put her in her own pen called a hutch. I think of them as big dog crates. And we're able to manage them individually. So in case she does get sick, she doesn't spread that to other calves out in the field if they're staying on the mom, or I'm able to treat her very individual if she gets, if she gets sick. They stay in the hutches, at least at our farm, for 3 to 4 months. We move them into group pens, where then they're with about 10 to 12 calves. And then they'll start their cycle in their group pens, moving into another pen when they're about 6 months old, ranging from 20 to 40 calves. And then at about 15 months of age, we will breed them. We use a herd bull here. Some dairies will AI all of their virgin heifers, and they will get pregnant at 15 months. They will calve, hopefully at 2 years of age. That is when you want a cow to calve for her first calf. And that's when she will start producing milk. And then she goes in the milk barn, and you start that cycle all over. You will then rebreed her at about 60 days after she's had a calf. She will carry that calf for 7 months, and they go dry, which I call vacation. And then she will calve at, her 9-month date. Cows here at our dairy, our average age is 7 years old. We actually have a cow that is 19 and still producing milk. So it's all very farm specific, but that's an overview of a cow at our dairy. So the dairy industry is important, one, because it provides numerous jobs, not only on farm, but off farm. And I'll give examples like a breeder, a nutritionist, a semen salesman. Those are just a few. And then it's also important because it provides a wholesome, nutritious product to the consumer in all aspects, whether it's milk, ice cream, yogurt, cheese. So it just provides a whole plethora of nutritious items. Some advice I'd give to somebody looking into the dairy industry is you will not start a dairy tomorrow, especially in living in California. So if you are interested in the dairy industry, look at other avenues such as a breeder, maybe a nutritionist. For the organic side, a dairy inspector, where you're on the farms dealing with the dairymen. But the way that California and its rules are, there is no way that it is feasible to start your own dairy. So maybe finding an internship at a dairy that maybe doesn't have children for that farmer to take over, and you can somehow get your foot in the door. Finding little avenues like that if you're interested in the dairy industry, as well as when you're in high school, take the opportunity over summer to do a small internship or do some outside work, whether it's moving irrigation or just here a couple days a week feeding calves. Those are ways that you learn more skills to take with you to other jobs.
Thank you to those who made Season 1